Okay, so in this part, I'm going to talk about visual hierarchy, and we're also going to look at the models I used in emulating to create this infographic. Okay, so first of all, visual hierarchy. What that it's the arrangement of visual elements in a display that depicts prominence and importance in a way relative to how humans perceive visual displays. Uh, Basically, what that means is uh, when you look at something, what stands out the most, what's the most eye-catching, and then how that um, display or whatever it is that you're looking at kind of guides you through um, in looking at it. Okay, so for this infographic, um, the most prominent feature um, for it is the title, especially this really large image of Pikachu, which stands out more than anything else. And I think that's really important, like I mentioned in my last episode, or last part, is that because Pikachu is just such a recognizable figure, um, when someone looks at it and they see Pikachu, they know what this is about, or mostly know what it's about. And then, of course, the title pretty much just tells you what this infographic is about, so that has to be the most important. Um, so because it's the largest and because it uses, at least in the title, it uses a unique color scheme and unique typeface that isn't really found anywhere else, it really draws attention to the top left of this infographic. From there, um, I feel like from starting off from the top left, the infographic kind of reads left to right as such. But also, the timeline draws a lot of attention because it's the largest display in the infographic, and I did it purposely on this way because the timeline is so central to everything else in this infographic. Because it is a history, it's a chronology of all the Pokemon games and comparing them across the generations. So it was really vital for this infographic to know um, all the different Pokemon games, when they came out and which generation they belonged to, and like the overall time span of the Pokemon series. Um, so I think when people read this, they can either read one out of two ways. They could, I think everyone will probably start off at this title, and then they might move over to the right onto this menu or the map. But I think eventually they'll probably um, see this timeline, and maybe they won't move to the map at all, and they'll go straight to a timeline after reading the title. And I noticed that when I was presenting this infographic in class, that most people were looking at this, which is how it should be. It is the most important part of this infographic. And another thing to note about the visual hierarchy is that everything is about the same height. So this entire infographic is really balanced. Um, there's no really element in the center that takes up the most space. No display really, especially in the middle, like no display really um, competes or overtakes the visual hierarchy of any other display. Like all these displays have about the same visual hierarchy. The only exception is, of course, the title and the timeline, and the map's a little bit bigger, so it has a little bit more prominence, but the biggest prominence is definitely the title and the timeline. Okay, let's see how long that recorded. All right, so I think in this part, we're going to talk about the models. And I think I'm going to make another video for that. So I'm going to stop the recording, and I'll see you guys in the next part.